Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Crystal. I've got another Fiberartsy Reads video for you today. Just another book chat. We're going to do a mid-month wrap-up for May. So I'll talk about what I read so far for the month. Let's get going. So I started out the month reading listened to the audiobook for Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. And this was fantastic. Very, very good. Highly recommend. Basically, the crux of this is making sure that your feminism is intersectional, that you're including everyone within your feminism. The word doesn't sound right when I'm saying it, feminism, but and I think for me, it's just informative because I think a lot of us, tend to have blind spots, even if we think we're, doing the right things. But this kind of book, I think, definitely gives you food for thought as you kind of move forward in your own, advocacy or activism, or just in your own day-to-day, kind of feminism as you move forward. So I highly recommend it. If you're just thinking about this, if it's a topic that you're interested in, definitely give it a go. I was pretty much blown away by it, and definitely food for thought. All right. Secondly, I listened to the audiobook for The Sum of Us: What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together by Heather McGhee. Another really fantastic audiobook, and sort of the crux of this one is how, if we're all doing well, then we all benefit from that. If we're all treated equally and truly equally, and not any of this sort of false equity, but if we're all truly treated equally in this society, every single one of us will benefit and prosper from this. And I could tell this was very well researched, and she gave lots of information about how Black folks were treated differently, with especially when it comes to money, with getting bank loans and buying homes and things like that, which is just really unnecessary, of course, and how it really truly affects everyone else. She goes a lot into sort of the housing market crash from, it was like 2008ish, or whenever that was. So it was very informative, and if you're looking to learn things, this is a good one to add to your list. So I would definitely recommend it, and the audio was great. Heather McGhee did read that herself, so I always like that in audiobooks. So yeah, that was a good one. Let's see, then my another audiobook. The first half of this month is very audio heavy, so but I listened to Can't Judge a Book by Its Murder by Amy Lillard. This is just a little cozy mystery that I read as part of my little book club that I run with some friends of mine. And it's a cute little cozy mystery, right? So essentially there's this little small town, I believe it was in Mississippi? I'm forgetting the place now, but our main character owns a little bookstore, kind of like right in the town square. And she's going into work one day, and there's a dead body in front of the bookstore. And lo and behold, it is the author that was actually supposed to have a, sort of book signing at her bookstore. And he is someone that is from this small town, and she knew personally. They went to high school together, that kind of thing. So he's sort of a hometown celebrity, and oh my gosh, why would he throw himself off the roof, or was he pushed? So our story goes from there. It has this really fun little group of older ladies that have this book club with her, and they are trying to also figure out what happened to this guy, and they're really funny. It was just like I said, a cute little cozy mystery, and I gave it 3 stars because it was fun. It's a good little palate cleanser if you're reading a bunch of serious things or dark things, because this definitely isn't dark, and yeah, it's a fun one to mix in if you needed something like that. So it was cute. I then finished up this chunky one, Last Days by Adam Neville. And I loved this one. I ended up really liking this. It's got a lot going on. Let me think how to talk about this. So we've got basically the Last Days is referring to this cult in the 60s and 70s. They were called the Temple of the Last Days. And back in, like I said, those early 70s, the members of this cult, they died. We'll say that. And so, of course, there's been all this speculation about what happened, and all this kind of stuff. Like cults are, they're always continually to be talked about, And so we kind of forward to sort of more present day, and our main character, who I'm forgetting his name, Kyle. That's right. Gosh, Kyle. Is approached by this man named Max to make a documentary about this cult. And he's giving him all the money, setting up all the interviews, and he's got it all set out. This is what we're going to do. I just need you to film it for me. And Kyle is a bit down on his luck. He's had some successful documentaries, but he's not super famous or anything. He's a bit in debt, so of course he kind of jumps at the opportunity to make this movie. And so he and his cameraman Dan, they start the process. Now our man Max here has really sort of instilled in them to really focus on any kind of paranormal things that you may find out about this cult, because this is what he's interested in. And so they're like, okay, whatever, that's fine. We'll figure it out as we go. And then as they get deeper into this story, as they're meeting new people, they're traveling around from, they start off in England, and then they move to France, and then they've shifted over to Arizona in the US, all these places where the cults had traveled over those few years where they were active, and things start happening. And perhaps the infamous leader of this cult, Sister Catherine, that's right, perhaps made some contact with things that she shouldn't have. That's all I'll say. So it goes from there. It was really spooky, some very scary scenes. I really liked it. I was on the edge of my seat. I had to, this is a big book, over 500 pages, just a little bit over 500, and I just kept turning those pages. I had to figure out what was going on. So for me, that's the mark of a good book. And I it went to some dark places, went to directions you didn't really understand or didn't really expect, and so I liked it. It worked for me. Gave it probably 4.5 stars. Really liked this one, so highly recommend, because I liked it. All right, and then lastly, to wrap it up, I finished just recently Before He Wakes by Mark Allen Gunnels, and this one I also really loved. It this is kind of a short novella, but essentially have this guy named Patrick who he's abducted right in the early parts of the book, and he wakes up and he finds himself basically in this basement of this house, and he's by himself, and he's locked in this room, and he can't get out. And then he realizes that he's not alone. There's also a girl next door in another little cell essentially named Claire. And so they're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And so she tells him what's going on here. There's this guy named Big Daddy who's trying to make them his family essentially. He's not all there, obviously. And so what we find is, how far is Patrick willing to go to get himself and Claire out of this situation? What would you do? How would you act in this situation? And we figure that out, what Patrick does to try to get himself out of here. And this story had a lot of layers to it. Also, too, we learned a lot about our characters, Patrick and Claire, and there's like a sheriff and Claire's parents and Patrick's boyfriend, and there's a lot of backstory here that really adds some depth to our characters. They really come alive on the page, and I really appreciated that. Even though this was a shorter story, we got a lot of information here, but it didn't bog down the story at all to me. And so yeah, so I really loved that. I would say straight up horror, more of a kind of a thrillery with some darkness to it for sure. But I really liked this. I ended up giving it a 5 star because I really enjoyed it. I mean, I sped through it. I had to keep turning that page again, much like with Last Days, to see what was going on. How's this gonna end? I was so excited. I gotta know. So yeah, a really awesome, month so far, really, for May. I'm so thrilled with my reading, really, this entire year. I've had a really good year so far, and this early part of May, or this first part of May, has not been any different. So I very happy with my reading. I did do a big thrift store book haul recently, and I had that video. But I did pick up another little book here, and it's called Being Human, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I say human. I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but and then An Unrepentant Memoir of a Disability Rights Activist. Judith Human is very important in the disability rights advocacy. She had a big part in the passing of the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so I cannot wait to dive into this, to learn more about Judith and all of her advocacy and hard work for folks with disabilities. So I wanted to share that because I'm very excited to get into that sometime. And that'll do it. That'll wrap it up so far for May. And yeah, I'll come back at the end of May and let you know how the rest of the month goes. I think it's still going to be awesome because my reading is just going really well. How's your month going so far? Are you having a good month of May reading? Let me know. And I will, that'll wrap it up for me. So I'll see you later. Bye.